All right, what's going on, guys? Good morning, everybody. Go ahead and start this day off with a little bit of a briefing going on here. We got a few things to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive right on in. Make sure my audio's up and going here. Looks like we're good on that end. Pop out the chat here. What's up, Cindy, J Mommy, Naomi, Bethany, Dragon, Summer, Cecil, Aaron, Christina? It's moving pretty quickly today. Dragon, Ashley, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Mystic? Got a few things to talk about here. So, if you're not aware of what's going on, we do have a severe weather risk today in the state. Let's go ahead and take a look at that before we dive into some models. So, first and foremost, actually, let's go ahead and do a different look on that. We can actually zoom in today. It's looking like we can actually get a good handle on it. Yep, perfect. This one. There we go. There is your severe weather risk areas today per the SPC Storm Prediction Center. We do have a slight risk there in yellow, level 2 out of 5, over towards South Haven, Holland, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Three Rivers. Those areas do have the highest risk according to the SPC. But around that, we do have a marginal level 1 risk out of 5. Up toward Bloodington, Big Rapids, Ionia, Lansing, back down through Jackson, as well as Adrian and Coldwater as well in that level 1 risk. All right. What are the hazards today? Well, there's actually some good news. We're not too concerned for tornadoes today, which is the great news. We're not going to say it's impossible. Never want to say it's impossible with severe weather, but we don't have that wind shear and the instability overlap today to get us really, overly concerned for it. We're going to watch, obviously, but we're not going to mention it as a high concern at all. So, number one risk, wind. Damaging wind is your main concern there, especially in that yellow southwest Michigan area. Kalamazoo, Three Rivers, Sturgis, Benton Harbor, South Haven, Holland, those general areas. It could extend a little bit further east as well, depending on how instability can play out. We'll have a little bit more info on that in a little bit. But that's your main risk, main concern. Second concern, hail. Hail should be confined more so to the western portion of the state, again, for that slight risk area, Holland, Kalamazoo, Sturgis, Benton Harbor, South Haven, those general areas, all right? We could see an extension of that as well, but we'll have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. So, tornado risk today is extremely low. We actually do not have any risk here in the state currently for the SPC for a tornado. Again, we're going to watch things, see how they trend just to make sure. But as of right now, we are not concerned for tornadoes in the state today. Models are a little interesting today. So, actually, before I dive into models, I want to show you the real time stuff, what's going on, so you guys have a good idea. So, we're popping out radar here for Illinois. We have been watching this line that has been severe all through the eastern portions of Iowa here, pushing into western, Illinois. This entire line has had some type of warning on it for the past like 2 hours or so, right? So we're watching this as it pushes toward Michigan. But if we look at the trend here, it was really strong through Davenport there, but as it continues eastward, it is dying out. Okay. That may try to push into Southwest Michigan here over the next hour to 2 hours or so. Overall, though, not too concerned with this first line. All right. What that first line may end up doing, though, is if it arrives and holds together, a cloud cover, which would then be or not allow the atmosphere to destabilize and build storm fuel. So this is going to be something we're going to watch today. If this line does end up pushing through as a weak line without severe, it could very well hinder later on today and the risk later today. So regardless, keep an eye. That's the current radar. Let's go back and look at the modeled radar, okay? The modeled radar is showing this first line right here decaying as it pushes across Lake Michigan. It does arrive, though, in West Michigan roughly right around 4 or 5 p.m. That's a little late, in my opinion. So this model doesn't really have a good handle on things. But notice the second line behind it is also pushing through here. It looks a little bit weaker, but it also pushes into Southwest Michigan area where that slight risk is. This is roughly at 10 p.m. tonight. I think it's going to be a little bit before then, maybe closer to 7 or 8 o'clock. But right now, we're going to watch that Southwest Michigan area for that. We're going to say highest risk. It's not a very high risk at all. But for the slight risk level 2 out of 5 is going to be positioned in that Southwest Michigan corner for that second line later on this afternoon, evening, roughly probably after that 6, 7, 8 o'clock time frame. we're going to adjust that time as we get more confidence. Right now, models are all over the place, right? Taking a peek at the latest 13Z, we're going to look at this. It has better handle on it, in my opinion. That line weakens, doesn't even cross Lake Michigan, but then we have that second line developing here is a more potent looking line, and that's going to push across Lake Michigan and arrives roughly on this model 11 p.m. tonight. All right. So we're kind of trending later, so to speak, on these models. I don't think it's going to be that late. I'm still thinking 7 or so o'clock would be a good time frame. But again, we're going to adjust this as we get more confidence. NAM3 model, different type of model. Looking at this again, that first line does show it weakening as it crosses Lake Michigan. Doesn't affect Michigan at all. But that second line comes through looking pretty potent, crosses the lake, kind of weakens, but then still arrives as what appears to be a squall line here, anywhere from Grand Rapids down toward Kalamazoo on 131 there. And that's going to push eastward across the state, and it'll weaken as it does so. So again, the main takeaway from this is go back to your SPC risk here. I think this is well placed from the SPC. Our forecast does look similar to this as well. We're just not too incredibly sure the northward or eastward extent of that risk, given instability is going to weaken, especially if these storms arrive later. Like we arrive storms like after sunset. I mean, the sun heats the atmosphere. We're not going to have the sun out after sunset, so that could hinder severe chances as well. So overall, we're kind of, I guess you can say, kind of on a decreasing trend here if with the later arrival of timing, but still like a couple hour window there before sunset, just after sunset, we could still see some severe weather here in Michigan, roughly probably from 7 p.m. onward, we're going to say. But again, we're going to adjust that as we get more confidence. But right now, that's the main thinking. Could be a bit later than that as well. All right. That line currently out in Illinois does still have plenty of warnings on it. It still has 2 tornado warnings as well. But again, not really expecting that to hold out to Michigan. So we'll track it regardless. Not going to write that off, but right now it looks to be on a very big decreasing trend out there. So shouldn't be too much of a concern for us for that first round. All right. That is your overall synopsis. I'll be live here later on this evening for some severe weather coverage if need be. We'll have chasers out as well if need be. So we got you guys covered regardless of what happens today. But if we can get a later arrival of timing, that would be probably the best case scenario for overall severe chances today. And then we're also going to look at Sunday coming up. Not on this stream, unfortunately. We're not going to combine here, but we are watching Sunday as well for a potential severe threat of potentially greater magnitude. Confidence is still very low in that, though. And there's also a risk for extreme eastern Michigan for tomorrow. We're going to briefly cover that, just kind of mention. The SPC did put a marginal level 1 risk there by the lakeshore, Lake Erie, Lake Huron, Canada, Ontario areas. We'll have to watch that as well. Keep in mind that's for tomorrow. So I missed it, but thank you, J Mommy, for gifting 5 memberships. You are appreciated. Those go out randomly to our subscribers who are subscribed to the YouTube channel. So you may have just been gifted a membership courtesy of J Mommy. So thank you. Yeah, Summer, unfortunately, you can't get memberships on iPhone. It's Android or computer only, I believe. The link is pinned, though. If you click the link, you may be able to do it that way. Should be on the black bar in the top of the chat. Problem, guys. Feels good to be back on here. Missed yesterday for the most part. But yeah, those models today are kind of struggling a little bit with the overall evolution of these storms. So we're not going to put too much stock in them. We're going to go off of our gut really at this point, but we're also going to keep watching trends throughout the day. What's going to happen behind this line is going to be a big factor with, we could have cloud cover move in. We could have a lot of things happen with this first line that could hinder any potential second round that could be of greater magnitude. It's not pinned. I may have pinned it in our weather coverage, actually. Yeah, I did. I pinned it in the wrong one. So I made the channel for our coverage tonight, if need be, and I pinned it there just to get ready for it. Here, let me do this. Whoops. Watching my own video on YouTube. Hold on. Nope, I copy paste it again. All right, bear with me, guys. I will pin it here momentarily. Won't be live too much longer though, but I will pin it for the time we are on here. Okay, hop back in. Monday, Matthew, I do not know. I did not look out that far. We'll take a peek at that when we're off here. I just woke up, so give me some time to get adjusted here. I did not look at models yesterday. I was, yeah, we're not gonna look. We're not gonna get into that, but I'm just getting back acquainted to what's going on here today and Sunday as well as tomorrow, potentially Monday, I guess as well. I'm not really seeing too much concerning. We'll take a peek at that just really quickly here because I'm not aware of any risk for Monday. Yeah, it looks to be to our south, so not concerned for Monday. All right, perfect. Should pin it here. There, it is now pinned, or it should be pinned at least. All right, let's pop back the chat out here. When it's Jenison Parade, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. in Jenison. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. I cannot see it with our streaming software. I can see it on mobile. I have my phone here. I'm watching myself and the chat here on mobile, but I can't see it on my streaming software though. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys letting us know. How's the chair? The chair, I think I already answered this. But the chair right now is not squeaking. I think what actually happened is number one, gave it a break yesterday. We were consecutively streaming for like 5 or 6 days, and then we took a break and came back. I think the oil that I basically soaked this chair in is finally perhaps working through. So we'll see if that actually sticks around or not. I still plan to get a new chair though. So people have donated to the chair fund. So um, we'll use that money accordingly. This chair also has some other issues. Like when I'm rocking back and forth side to side, it's like really wobbly, like it's about to fall off its pole, I guess, so to speak. So it's due time. Yeah, Summer, we had a couple donations to the chair fund, so you guys actually had the idea. I didn't make it. I wasn't going to do anything about it. I was just going to buy one of my own money, but you guys were like, "Oh, we're going to donate." So, all right, whatever. You guys want to. What do we see for Saturday and Sunday? Matthew, I am not going to get too in depth here. We may go live later this evening to talk about it. Um, I can briefly look at it just because we're already on the HRRR model. I have not looked at this at all. I'll be honest with you guys. So tomorrow looks like we're going to have, according to this model, nothing. But again, I'm not going to say anything specific here just because NAM3 also says nothing. So looking at these models this morning, I'm going to say tomorrow is nothing. But again, grain of salt here. Sunday, though, we're going to have to watch Sunday closely. Wow. Let's take a peek at our ingredients here just really quickly. This is the first NAM model that we're going to actually get convective. Oh, okay. There we go. Kind of watching that 94 corridor still. This reminds me a lot of how May 7th set up with the instability axis being in Southwest Michigan, but not Southeast Michigan. Let's go ahead and take a quick profile here, what that looks like. Yeah, Christine, there is a risk tonight. If you're in the yellow area, it's the highest area of concern. If you're in the green, it's the lowest risk of concern, but still a risk nonetheless. Main time frame, we're going to say after 7 p.m. There is a line currently out to our west in Illinois, Wisconsin. That's not expected to be an issue, but it may cause issues if we're talking in terms of severe weather later. We could have cloud cover built in, which could then limit storm fuel, stuff like that. So we'll watch it close. A lot of caveats today we're going to watch. Overall concern for this risk is not too terribly high. We'll be here regardless. We cover all severe weather, so you'll see us live covering it because there are people going to be affected today or potentially affected. So, nope, Marvin, the ARRR does not go out to Sunday. We'll say one thing about Sunday is the wind shear, no matter what model that you look at, is off the charts. It's going to be a question of instability and thermodynamics, lapse rate, stuff like that. So right now, though, this is first look at Sunday looks pretty interesting, but only for a very small portion of Southwest Michigan, perhaps South Michigan in general. We look at this model here. We're just going to look at it for face value without any new adjustments. We're looking 94 corridor, Kalamazoo, basically the exact same areas we're looking at for May 7th. So those general areas back through Coldwater, Hillsdale County, then it goes back into Ohio there. So Southeast Michigan gets completely missed on this model. But that's only the first model going to come in here. We're going to have multiple more. We'll watch it. But yeah, Sunday, keep your toes on, or keep your toes on. Be on your toes and pay attention to future forecasts for Sunday. Chantel, not really too concerned tonight for tornadoes. Damaging winds are your main concern, and there's a lot of caveats here that could either, make this threat be non-existent, or we could see an uptick and say, all right, we are going to have more instability than expected. The higher risk there coming in, particularly for that Southwest Michigan area. But overall, we're not too terribly concerned with the overall threat today. Damaging winds, large hail are your only two concerns. We're not too, keen on the risk for tornadoes today. Missy, that is a great point. I remember chasing back in 2019. About said 1919. 2019, back in Indiana, we had an outbreak there. That's the night that Dayton had EF4 tornadoes. So Memorial Day always seems to have tornadoes or severe weather surrounding it somehow. So it's weird. Yeah, Matthew, I'm good. I'm just getting myself back acquainted here. Give me a few minutes to get myself oriented properly. Uh, all right, guys. Any other questions? Yes, I am very old. I am 105 years old. I was born in 1919. Talking is hard sometimes. Yeah, I have a tendency, if you guys haven't noticed, to kind of stutter some words sometimes. I try my best to pronounce, but sometimes it just doesn't come out properly. Or I start speaking when there's not a full sentence formed in my brain yet, so it just kind of comes out randomly. It happens. It happens. Telling us to keep our toes off. Now he's I swear, some of you guys should clip these segments and make MSC blooper reels or something like that. You guys have a blast with that. All right, guys, I'm going to pop off here. Been on about 20 minutes or so. Overall risk today is not too concerning at this point, but keep an eye, if especially in that yellow area there, as well as that darker green area, for some damaging winds, potentially large hail as well. Not concerned for tornadoes today. Main time frame is going to be after 7 p.m. That will likely need adjustment, perhaps later, would be the first initial guess, but we'll adjust as needed. That first line in Illinois is not a main concern for us. We're watching that closely. because how that interacts with our atmosphere is going to depend, excuse me, is how it's going to dictate, should I say, how that threat later on this evening is going to shape up. So, with that being said, guys, we'll hop on here again probably this afternoon, evening to give you guys an update before we go live, if we need to go live at all. With that being said, though, we'll be on here covering it with coverage as always later on, if need be, as with chasers in the field as well. All right. You guys stay safe. We'll have an update with our forecast coming out here probably by noon. And then also, if anything changes with SPC, we will share that as well. So, with that being said, you guys stay safe. We'll see you guys likely at some point later on this evening on live streams.